And I've always stressed that Fergie was very much part of the story, that the relationship that they had with Epstein was much deeper, went on much longer, lasted much more recently. And I think this is all coming out now, which is great.
Behind the palace gates, a disturbing pattern was emerging, one that would shatter what little remained of the York reputation. Royal author Andrew Lownie sat down for a live podcast appearance this week and dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through royal circles. Speaking on his Lownie report, he didn't hold back. Andrew was sleeping with Ghislaine. Ghislaine was sleeping with Epstein. I've heard that Epstein and Sarah were sleeping together. It doesn't surprise me. The silence that followed was deafening. Lownie went further in an interview with The Mirror, his words deliberate and unflinching. Sarah Ferguson was madly in love with Epstein, he claimed, and apparently spent several nights with him. These weren't random accusations. Lownie spent years researching his explosive biography entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. He interviewed sources deep inside Andrew and Sarah's orbit, people who witnessed the dynamics firsthand, people who saw what happened behind closed doors. And what they described was a twisted psychosexual network that went far beyond friendship. There's a complicated psychosexual network going on as well as a financial one, Lownie explained on his podcast. He painted a picture of entangled relationships, jealousy, and power. Certainly, Ghislaine and Sarah were not friends. I think Ghislaine was rather jealous of Sarah and vice versa. She felt that Sarah was moving in on someone she saw as her boyfriend. Then came Maxwell's own words. In July 2005, during an interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Ghislaine Maxwell herself confirmed what insiders had been whispering for years. Sarah, Maxwell said, put the moves on Jeffrey. That wasn't speculation anymore. That was Maxwell, convicted sex trafficker, Epstein's longtime partner, stating it on the record. The rivalry between the two women wasn't new. It had simmered for decades. Staff who worked around the palace saw it play out in real time. Former Protection Officer Paul Page told ETV in 2022 that Ghislaine Maxwell was allowed to enter and exit the palace at will night and day. The access she had was extraordinary, unprecedented even. Page and his colleagues formed a clear opinion. Ghislaine and Andrew had some sort of relationship, an intimate one. From the way she was allowed to enter and exit the palace at will, we suspected that she may have had an intimate relationship with Prince Andrew, Page said. The behaviour patterns were obvious to those paying attention. Andrew and Ghislaine's alleged affair stretched over many years, described as on-off by multiple sources. According to Lownie's book, it was common knowledge in Epstein circles. Andrew met Ghislaine in Oxford back in the 1980s. Their connection resumed in May 1999, just months after Andrew's 40th birthday. By then, Ghislaine was deeply embedded in Epstein's world. Epstein himself admitted the closeness. In 2007, he told a reporter that he and Andrew have shared the same women. He called Andrew his closest friend in the world. Maxwell, for her part, described Andrew as a dear friend, even after her conviction. But she was reportedly shaken when Andrew's legal team later claimed they were never that close. The denial stung. Sarah wasn't blind to any of this. She saw Ghislaine's influence over Andrew, and according to Lownie, she was jealous. Jealous that she'd lost her influence over Andrew to Ghislaine and Epstein. The resentment festered. But Sarah had her own connection to Epstein, and it was about to be exposed in excruciating detail. In early 2026, the US Department of Justice released millions of documents from the Epstein files. Among them were emails that laid bare Sarah Ferguson's relationship with the disgraced financier. The desperation, the affection, the fury, it was all there. September 2011. Sarah sent Epstein a message congratulating him on the birth of a baby boy. It was the first anyone had heard of Epstein fathering a child. The revelation was shocking on its own, but the email itself was even more telling. Don't know if you are still on this BBM, but heard from the Duke that you have had a baby boy, Sarah wrote. Even though you never kept in touch, I still am here with love, friendship, and congratulations on your baby boy. Sarah XX, warm, affectionate, forgiving. 8 minutes later, the tone shifted completely. You have disappeared. I did not even know you were having a baby. It was so crystal clear to me that you were only friends with me to get to Andrew, and that really hurt me deeply, more than you will know. The emotional whiplash was startling. In the span of 8 minutes, Sarah went from congratulations to confrontation. She felt used, discarded, and the pain was raw. Staff close to the situation later said the email captured Sarah's emotional state perfectly. She was someone who constantly sought validation, affection, approval. And when she didn't get it, the hurt ran deep. But that September 2011 exchange wasn't the only revealing email. In 2009, Sarah had written to Epstein in language that stunned readers around the world. You are a legend. I really don't have the words to describe my love. Gratitude for your generosity and kindness. I am at your service. Just marry me. Just marry me. The phrasing was unmistakable. Playful, perhaps, but also desperate. Sarah had written similar messages before. In August 2009, after what appeared to be a lunch meeting, she gushed, "I have never been more touched by a friend's kindness than your compliment to me in front of my girls. Thank you, Jeffrey, for being the brother I have always wished for." The brother she always wished for. The man she was apparently willing to serve. The person she jokingly or not so jokingly asked to marry. All of this came after Epstein's 2008 conviction for soliciting a minor for prostitution. He'd served 13 months in jail on a work release program. The world knew exactly what he was. And yet, the emails continued. The financial desperation woven through those messages told another story entirely. In 2009, Sarah sent Epstein an urgent plea. "I urgently need £20,000 for rent today. The landlord has threatened to go to the newspapers if I don't pay. Any brainwaves?" She wasn't just emotionally dependent, she was financially dependent, and Epstein knew it. Reports now claim Epstein bankrolled Sarah for 15 years, far beyond the $15,000 she publicly admitted to accepting. Lawyers' letters uncovered in the files detailed deals to pay off her creditors. One email from Epstein himself claimed he had helped her financially for 15 years. The support was extensive, consistent, and it came with strings. In 2009, while Epstein was still behind bars for his crimes, Sarah reached out asking for advice on managing her $6 million debt pile. She turned to a convicted sex offender for financial guidance. The optics were catastrophic, but the relationship wasn't just about money, it was about access. Epstein gained extraordinary entry into the heart of British high society, and Sarah Ferguson was often the person opening the doors. In February 2010, Amanda Thirsk, Andrew's private secretary, sent Epstein a personal invitation to Andrew's 50th birthday party at St. James's Palace. The tone was warm, almost flirtatious. "It will be suits and cocktail dresses and, you know me, mysterious mischief, so bring your presence and your humour." Epstein was instructed to bring his passport for palace entry. Security protocols were in place, but the invitation had been extended nonetheless. A convicted sex offender, invited to a royal residence to celebrate a prince's birthday. Epstein ultimately declined. But the fact that the offer was made at all spoke volumes. Elsewhere, the access went even further. In a 2009 email to hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin, Epstein casually wrote, "Fergie said she could organise tea in the Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle." He told Dubin to contact Sarah directly. She wasn't just connected to Epstein, she was actively facilitating his entry into royal spaces. And then there were the daughters. In July 2009, Sarah arranged a lunch with Epstein that included Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie. The emails captured the coordination in painful detail. Sarah wrote to Epstein, "I am aiming to get to you for 12:30 for lunch. Does that suit?" Epstein offered to send a car. Sarah declined, saying she'd secured one from a friend. "It will be myself, Beatrice and Eugenie," she confirmed. This wasn't a chance encounter, this was planned, arranged. And it happened after Epstein's conviction. Sources close to the family later said the decision to bring the girls into Epstein's orbit was deeply troubling. One insider told a journalist, "How could she not see what this looked like? How could she think it was acceptable?" But Sarah continued the connection. The emails suggest she believed Epstein could be useful, for business, for finances, for opportunities, and she was willing to overlook everything else. Behind her back, though, Epstein revealed his true feelings. In September 2011, he forwarded an email to someone containing a link to a Daily Mail article. The piece covered Princess Beatrice's university graduation. A photo showed Sarah in the background. Epstein's comment was short and cruel. "Pic of F from Friday, not the prettiest sight." The casual cruelty was jarring. Sarah had poured affection, loyalty, and desperation into this relationship, and Epstein mocked her appearance behind her back. But he wanted something from her, too. In March 2011, Epstein wrote to his publicist Mike Citrick outlining a strategy to rehabilitate his image. "I think Fergie can now say I am not a pedo," Epstein wrote. She was duped into believing false stories. He wanted Sarah to release a public statement clearing his name. Citrick replied that Ferguson needs to fix it. Epstein, however, was skeptical. "We cannot depend on her doing as we would wish. We need an alternative." The plan was clear. Use Sarah's royal connections to clean up his reputation. And if she didn't cooperate, find someone else. The following month, Sarah emailed Epstein defending herself. She insisted she did not and would not call him a P, and that she'd only acted to protect my own brand. A spokesperson later revealed that Epstein had threatened to sue her for defamation if she publicly associated him with paedophilia. Sarah was caught, financially dependent, emotionally entangled, and legally threatened. The fallout has been nothing short of catastrophic. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was stripped of his titles and honours by King Charles in October 25s. He's been ordered to vacate Royal Lodge, the sprawling estate he's called home for years. His ex-wife will also have to leave, though no one knows where she'll go. Multiple charities have severed ties with Sarah over her Epstein connections. One charity she founded was forced to close indefinitely after the latest batch of emails surfaced. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, now 3 survive and 3 have retained their titles as daughters of a monarch's son. No additional context was provided, but the embarrassment was instant and public. The BBC didn't mince words. The York brand is now tainted beyond repair. The twisted web connecting Andrew, Sarah, Epstein and Maxwell has been fully exposed. The rivalry, the alleged affairs, the financial desperation, the palace access, all of it documented in emails, legal filings and interviews released to the public. Andrew Lownie's explosive claims that Sarah was madly in love with Epstein and possibly slept with him add yet another layer to an already devastating scandal. Maxwell's on-the-record statement that Sarah put the moves on Jeffrey confirms the jealousy and competition that poisoned their dynamic for years. What remains unknown is how deep these relationships truly went, how much the palace knew, how long the connections persisted even after Epstein's crimes became public knowledge. Andrew and Sarah have not issued public responses to the latest allegations. The palace remains silent, but the damage is irreversible. The monarchy's darkest chapter continues to unfold, and the questions refuse to go away. Why did Sarah keep reaching out to Epstein after his conviction? Why were the princesses brought into his world? How did Epstein maintain such extraordinary access for so long? The answers may never come, but one truth is undeniable. The fall of the House of York is complete, and the stain it leaves on the royal family will linger for generations.